Welcome to another episode of Driving Leadership. Today's episode, we're going to stay in from the rain, and instead of getting in the car, we're going to have a conversation at Wegmans grocery store with Wegmans' own Evelyn Ingram. Evelyn is the Syracuse area's community advocate. She's a dynamic woman, and I just can't wait for this conversation. Come on. Evelyn, thank you so much for this afternoon. I really appreciate this very much.
No problem.
And I know we're going to get a chance to have a great conversation here for a few minutes. I cannot think of Wegmans without thinking of you. I really can't. I really can't. No, seriously, I really can't. Okay. But I know you didn't start here.
Yeah, I didn't start out like, I want to be a leader when I grow up. It was just like, that's just what happened. I felt like there was a need and I would be willing to help fill that void. So that kind of is what led me into this. And so my dad was a pastor. He was a pastor of a church.
Yeah.
And that, I'm a PK, preacher's kid. And I don't know if you've heard that, we always get thrust into things to do it. If other members won't do it, then the kids will do it.
You got voluntold.
We got voluntold to do it. Yeah. So I think even from that perspective, I've always just been one to, do. My dad, I recall, I think I was maybe like 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. I remember him calling me in front of the church. Mm-hmm. Literally, we have, in the church building, we're having a service, and he wanted me to recite the 66 books of the Bible.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And I know them in order, and I still know them in order.
Okay.
And it was like, because he wanted to show the members, that I can do that.
Yeah.
Some of the older members didn't know it.
Right.
So I'll never
that even a young person can do that.
Even a young person can do it. So I'm little. I'm like 12, 13 years old. And I'm sitting in front of, front of church, Genesis, Exodus, literally going through all books of the Bible. That's always been me. I mean, just willing to jump in, willing to do it, willing to kind of take the lead when necessary. Mm-hmm. And I'm not stuck on being the leader, but I'm stuck on getting it done. And I feel
that's
like
a great differentiation. Tell me more about that.
I mean, it's like I don't have to be in charge.
Yeah.
But I want it to get done. And if I feel I have the skills to do it, I'm willing to do it. But if somebody else wants to step up and do it, I always feel like I can be a leader, but I also can be a good follower.
Tell me how you either cultivated that in yourself or how you stepped into that space, because I'm not sure every leader does that.
Okay.
So how do you give yourself permission to step back or hand it off really well? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I have to say, I'm not always good at handing it off really.
Okay. All right, good.
I'll be honest with that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I want it to be done a certain way.
Yes.
And if I don't have confidence in the team to execute it that way, I'm still stay attached. But I think from a perspective of if there's something that has to be done just in general, and if there's no one who's willing to do it, and if there's something I feel I have the expertise to do it, I'm willing to step up and do it. But in that same space, if there's somebody else who has the expertise to do it and is willing to do it,
you're not going to get in their way.
I'm not going to get in their way. And I will support them and do whatever I can to help.
So tell me a little bit more about your path. So you came to Syracuse for school.
Yeah, I came to Syracuse for school.
And you stayed.
I stayed.
Yeah.
I've been here. I've been in Syracuse longer than I was in Long Island.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I stayed.
So this feels like home?
It's definitely now home. This is home for me now. I mean, not literally after being here, my husband's here, my family's here, son is here. So I have to say I was resistant initially.
Yeah.
Because, coming up here for college, your mentality is, I'm going to come here, I'm going to get my degree, and I'm leaving.
It's temporary.
Yeah. I never came here with the intentions of staying at all.
Yeah.
And it's cold up here. Oh, my God. So I never, ever planned to stay. But why did I stay? I stayed because I ended up getting a job at Carrier Corporation. At the time, Carrier was like one of the companies in the area. Booming, big time. You get a job at Carrier, you're in there. So what it was for me was that I was able to get my own apartment, get my car.
Independence. Freedom.
And I still was able to have some financial freedom as well. My friends in New York City.
Not yet.
They were living at home. Yeah. They were making less a year than we were paying for tuition. So it was a good deal. It was a good deal, and I leveraged that, and it worked for me. So I worked for Carrier Corporation 10 years, that was an invaluable corporate experience for me because it provided my foundation. I think my business acumen I gained from Carrier Corporation because it was a very traditional, I would say strict corporate environment.
Right.
So there was certain things you learned, kind of the political process, how to maneuver through different arenas. So I literally am that was a valuable experience for me.
It was a good place to develop that.
It was a good place to develop that, and I'm glad I started there. Yeah. So then was there for 10 years, left there, went to Bristol Myers Squibb, literally right up the street, less than a mile.
Right.
And I used to pass Bristol every day, never paid it any attention. Literally, I mean,
it was just a building over there.
It was just a building over there, whatever. Yeah. I would drive. So literally right up the street, got hired at Bristol Myers Squibb, and that was a great experience for me too because it opened up another industry. Because the pharmaceutical business is very fast-paced.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrier, it wasn't fast-paced, but it was more, for example, manufacturing an air conditioning unit. That's a whole process. That takes a long time. And pharmaceutical, it takes a long time too, but once it gets to market, it's quick.
Then fast.
It's fast. So it was kind of learning. Then I'm dealing more with scientists, at Bristol Myers Squibb. So kind of just having that experience was very invaluable. And then I ended up getting recruited to Wegmans. And been at Wegmans 16 years. Never thought I would work for a supermarket. Was, again, resistant initially. I got a call from a recruiter about this position. And initially, they was, because what happened at Bristol, I would get calls from recruiters. It was like every day. I mean, that was just kind of a market where, and I was in human resources at the time.
Okay.
So pretty much it was like I didn't even respond to 90% of it.
Right.
I happened to respond to this call from a recruiter who had a position at Wegmans. And at the time when they talked to me, I didn't know the company. They would just tell me about the position. I'm like, okay.
Gotcha.
When they told me Wegmans, I was like, like, a shop there. I mean, like, it's a great supermarket, but I don't want to work for those supermarkets. I was like, because I didn't see it as a company. One thing I will say, though, that when I got hired, because typically Wegmans does most of our hiring internally.
Okay.
Pretty much you kind of grow up through the ranks, you learn the business, you kind of, and they don't normally hire
a lot of internal growth.
A lot of internal growth. Externally, particularly at the level that I came in, you don't normally hire externally. So I'll never forget that because I had kind of grown up at Wegmans, they wanted to give me the experience of working in the stores. So for a whole year, I worked in the stores.
Did you?
And when I mean in the stores, I mean I worked in the bakery department.
Yeah.
I worked in the pizza department. I worked in seafood, meat. I rotated through every department for weeks. So it wasn't like just a one day,
no,
but a whole year.
That had to be invaluable.
It was invaluable. Now, I will say, I laugh sometime. I'm like, now, had I really understood this when I accepted the job, I may have said, I don't know. But after going through it, and at the time I was hired for HR, human resources. So that really was helping me to see the employees behind the scenes,
right,
the things that they have to go through, the work that they go through,
and how the organization works.
So literally, I loved it, and that actually is what kind of gave me the foundation here at Wegmans. So now in this role, I literally kind of understand the business from the inside, and even though I'm promoting the company externally to the community, I still really have that inside knowledge of how we do things. Why we do what we do. And I even say, like, sometimes I'll laugh and say, I feel like I work harder now than I've ever worked in my life because I feel like I'm part of the company. I feel like my last name is Weg.
Yeah.
And that's
cool.
That's cool. But it's hard to achieve that. I mean, that's something that, at other companies I work for, I didn't have that feeling.
Yeah.
It's just, but here, just the way the culture is, I literally feel like I want to do everything I can to make sure this company is successful. So whatever Evelyn Ingram can do to make that happen, I'm willing to do it because I feel part.
So when I Google your name,
okay,
and I love this. Gee. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm looking at
goodness.
It on the Wegmans page.
Okay.
It says meet Evelyn Ingram.
I know.
What does it say?
Fashionista
and Syracuse community advocate. I love that fashionista. Is the first part of your title.
Yeah, and it's funny. So I don't want to start about resistant, but I didn't want to do that story. I was like, why not?
It's a great story.
I do like fashion. I have to say, I admit it.
And you're beautiful.
Thank you. I just that's a part of me. I feel like when I look better, I work better. Yeah. And I love it. My father instilled this. I have two sisters. He always was very, he wanted us to represent ourselves well as women.
Yeah.
So the way we present ourselves, the way we look, the way I dress, that was just his thing with his daughters.
Absolutely.
And it's just kind of worked for me because now part of my role is I can get a call from a television station in a minute and say, we need you. We want to interview you about X, Y, Z.
You're ready.
I got to be ready. And I can't be like, oh, wait, let me go do my hair.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me change my clothes. So I come to work dressed as if I'm going to get a call.
That's awesome.
But because I love fashion, it's easy. It's not like, I mean, this just what I do.
That's authentically you too. What do you do day in, day out?
So it's a very fulfilling role. I'll say that because at the end of the day, I'm helping organizations help people. I mean, I'm not going to say every organization, but 90% of the organizations in this area, Wegmans has supported in one way. I mean, we really try to make sure that we are, and I try to make sure that we are representing all culture, veterans, literally, that's part of what I do to make sure that there's no group of people that can say that Wegmans is not supporting them.
So, Evelyn, I often frame the advice piece of my show this way that our listeners would love some advice. I'm really being selfish. I like the advice too. So from a leadership perspective, what would you share with our listeners? What would you share with me from an advice perspective?
Okay. Well, it's funny. I think about things that have happened to me over my life from a career perspective and from a decision perspective. And I talk to a lot of young people, and some of the things that I normally share with them is be flexible. Sometimes we have this in our mind to be set. Like even how I shared about Wegmans, I'm like, I don't want to work for a supermarket. Had I not taken this job, look what I would have missed out.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes, people, we put pressure on ourselves that we have to do things in a certain timing. We have to do things a certain way.
It should unfold a certain way.
It should just be open, be flexible. And I think oftentimes we're not because we're scared and we think we're not going to be successful if we don't follow this prescribed path. So I would just say be flexible, be open, because you never know. And don't be so silly. I mean, and I think I have to say, now you give me my carrier days. Now I was Miss Business Suit, briefcase, serious, because, getting out of college. But now I'm realizing that, I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in my skills. It's not that deep.
Right.
Just enjoy. Just let down, let loose. Not that you don't be professional, not that you don't recognize that they're God, but it's like, don't be so serious and just feel like everything just has to be, and I think that's what's helped me to just realize that, what, I'm accomplished and I'm confident about who I am and I don't have to prove it.
I don't think you all are in the grocery business. I think you're in the relationship business.
Yeah. I agree.
You just happen to do groceries.
I agree. You're right.
And you're in the relationship business.
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. So Evelyn, I know you have a little project going on. You and I think your husband purchased a piece of property.
We did.
You call it the castle.
We call it the castle.
Tell me about it.
And I thought it was going to be little, but it's
not little.
Huge.
What is it?
Between the building itself being huge, over 30,000 square feet, and the project itself being huge. But what it is that we purchased a church on the south side of Syracuse.
Okay.
It was a Presbyterian church.
Okay.
And we actually renamed it the Castle. Because it looks like a castle.
Is it stone? I don't know the building.
It's like stone. It's stone. It's like the corner of South Salina and South Colvin.
Okay.
South Salina and Colvin Street, which is literally the heart of the South Side.
Okay.
So my husband grew up in that area.
Yeah.
So this is our Give Back to the Community project. but it's huge. So it's a historic. It's actually on the New York State Registry of Historic Places.
Oh, fantastic!
So literally, it's a historic location, and we're renovating into event space for like wedding receptions, conferences, galas, plays, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
A lounge, so after work you can come, have a drink, appetizers, live entertainment.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then a training and development center. So it's pretty much 3 entities in one.
Evelyn, I'm never going to be in a Wegmans the same again. This is awesome. This is so awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.